Keep on the sunny side, always on the sunny side. Keep on the sunny side of life. It will help us every day, it will brighten all the way. If you keep on the sunny side of life.
Hello. Thank you for looking at this and watching this and tuning in on this. I'm Joe Martin. I'm pastor at First Baptist Church in Toledo, Washington. Today, it seems like for a lot of reasons, it's a good subject to talk about healing. You know, there are a lot of ideas about healing. There seem to be two big mistakes that oftentimes religious people make. One is that God doesn't heal anybody anymore, or he doesn't do much, doesn't bring much healing. The other is that God guarantees that every time you ask, he will heal you, that he'll heal you in a particular way, or he'll heal you in a particular fashion, that it's almost like a transactional experience. You pray so much and are in such and such a way that you're going to automatically be healed. Neither one of those are true. But the Bible does say a lot about healing. It says in James 5:15, "And the prayer offered in faith will restore the one who is sick, and the Lord will raise him up. And if he's committed sins, they will be forgiven him." Now, I'm going to talk more about this on the weekend, about this amazing interplay and interchange about healing. And sometimes we want to compartmentalize everything just so we can understand it. But when God brings healing, he's dealing with multiple aspects of healing, spiritual healing, physical healing, the need for emotional healing. And we'll talk more about that on the weekend. The one thing, though, that is very clear in this passage and throughout the Bible is that healing and faith are closely related. You see in the writing, in the teachings of Jesus and in the stories about Jesus, Matthew 9:27, "And Jesus went on from there. As he went on from there, two blind men followed him, crying out, 'Have mercy on us, Son of David.'" Now, they were crying, they wanted to be healed, but they wanted mercy as well. "And when he entered the house, the blind men came up to him, and Jesus said to them, 'Do you believe that I am able to do this?' And they said to him, 'Yes, Lord.' Then he touched their eyes, saying, 'It shall be done to you according to your faith.' And of course, they were healed in this case. In Mark chapter 9:23, because healing sometimes wasn't just for the person who needed it, but it was someone else asking for someone in their family, perhaps. In 9:23, it says, "And Jesus said to him, 'If you can,'" this father had brought the need of his son to Jesus, and he said, if you can, would you please heal him?" And Jesus said, "If you can, all things are possible to him who believes." Immediately the boy's father cried out and said, "I do believe, help my unbelief." Boy, we all feel like that sometimes, don't we? But you see that there is this connection between faith and healing. It may be the faith of the one receiving healing, or it may be based on the faith of the one that's asking for healing, for whoever it might be. And sometimes it seems as though the individual who needed healing had less to do with it. Sometimes even in those cases, they didn't even know about it. The one thing that you and I can be sure of is healing is something we need. I've been amazed at that. I'm walking around on some crutches. They're not very fun. I stepped off the path, as I told you on the weekend message last week. It's twisted my leg and cracked my bone in my leg, and so I have a small fracture in my leg, and I'm trying to deal with it. And you know, most of you know me, I like to be up, moving around and walking. The only thing good about it is I can't feel my back because my leg hurts too much. So that's probably one blessing. But, we all need healing on some level. You need it. I need it. Maybe your family needs it. Somebody you care about needs it. There's no question as we looked around this week that our nation needs healing. And God offers healing for those that ask in faith. He does that. He offers healing for both the person asking and for us when we ask for other people. But we also have to do our part. We must do what he says. Often God gives us something to do. You see that in the life of Jesus. He would tell, in the Old Testament, Naaman was told to go wash in the river 7 times, dip into the river. It was incredibly humbling for this man who was in a foreign place, hearing a message, but it was what God told him to do so that he could be healed of his affliction. Sometimes Jesus would say, he told those 10 lepers cleansed, that he said, as you are going, as they were going, he told them to go show themselves to the priest, and as they were going, they were healed, and one returned to thank him. Sometimes Jesus would say, take up your bed and walk, or go, he would, this was just how Jesus acted. He would give them something. And it seems that in our case, and each one seemed to be very different. Each situation seemed to be different. And I think that's important. We want to reduce the work of God sometimes into something quantitative and predictable and make a formula of it. That's a sad thing, but God is not like that. It seems that the faith to heal also involves us participating in the process. We are to trust God. We are to listen to God. And then we are to do what we are shown to do to get better. And to, perhaps in some cases, the healing means not just getting better, but being better. For example, that's why I've got these crutches, and I've been wearing this soft cast, one of these. Some of you have been through it. I've seen you with them at church. They told me today, you got to stay off it. If you don't stay off it, no matter what you do, it's not going to heal right. You got to cooperate. You got to stay off your leg. Or maybe your doctor has told you, change your diet. You know what he means. Or take your medication. Or you need to exercise a little bit more. Change that life-killing habit that keeps doing it. Or maybe you need to sleep more. Or maybe you need to do something in your life to help you heal. But there's much more to healing than lifestyle changes that make you help your physical health, your body's health. There is healing from every type of affliction that comes from Christ. There's healing in his wings. There is healing from the problems that we see. Sometimes God needs to heal the way we think about things. Sometimes God needs to extract the lies that we've come to believe, like poison from a wound. We see a plague of sickness in our land that has killed 208,000 people as of today. Maybe some more. Tragically, those families have this incredible loss. Some of you have had family members that have died, and you could say, well, something's going to get us, but this is what got them. This has stretched so far, this plague has even reached the president and now dozens of other people that are within his orbit in the White House and among his staff and some leaders in our country. And we need to pray for them for sure, because healing is needed. But there's also a need for not just dealing with the pandemic, but there is also a national and emotional plague of depression and anxiety. And I'm sure that you guys are aware that there is an acute case of rage and anger out there. That needs God's touch. There is a spiritual plague of hatred and cruelty and injustice and dishonesty that seems to be sweeping the land. And there are times where we just need personal healing for our physical bodies or in any aspect of our life. But I don't think most of us would argue. I mean, I wouldn't argue with you if you said this. We would argue that we need national healing. We need healing in some way that God will bring through his people. But God works in many ways. And God will work in all these areas, not just fixing my leg or healing someone's vision. God works in many ways, and he works through many people. He will work in all these areas, and he'll include you in the process of doing that. Now, this weekend, I'm going to share what fighting for faith, for healing, will look like. And not just for yourself, because some of you really need healing, but other people that we pray for, other people that we do certain things, even beyond prayer, to help facilitate their healing. I will share what your part looks like as you work with God for healing on every level, not only in your own life, but for the people around you. You know, we are to be a people that, like Jesus says, we go around doing good, healing people of all kinds of afflictions. That's supposed to be what we do. And so I hope that you'll watch that. And I want you to know that if you want to respond to this message and say, would you pray for healing for me in this area? Doesn't necessarily have to be a physical affliction. It may be something else you're dealing with. Maybe something in your family. A lot of you have talked to me and you're going through stuff. Some of you have told me, I'm just so upset about things. Would you pray for me? There's a healing for that too. God has a healing for anxiety. It's called peace. The peace that passes comprehension, all comprehension. There is a healing that comes for anger. It's called forgiveness and mercy. There's a healing that comes for division that happens in our lives and in our families. It's called reconciliation and unity. We're going to talk more about that as we get to the weekend. And I pray that you will watch that, and you can watch it online, or if it's not raining, we'll be meeting in the park, and if we find a different venue, if it is raining, we'll be sure to let you know. Some of you have wanted to give, and you've been wanting to give, maybe you forgot. You can go down and you can go to the give, and explain it all to you. It's a couple clicks. You can do it all. And I appreciate many of you that are what we call recurring givers. It just comes out automatically, and we're able to just do a lot for people that way. But I want you to know, God wants to include you, not only to bring healing to you, but to include you and give you an opportunity to be a part of him bringing healing to others, him bringing healing to the people around our lives. It's going to be exciting to see what he does.